I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to the honorable judges, the timekeeper, the moderator, to our respected audience, my brother and sister, and to our beloved partner, the government team. My name is Shakila Arviama and I, as the first speaker, as the leader of opposition team, would like to strongly object with the motion that this House would require political candidate to pass a political competency test in order to run for office. Within the current status quo, where politicians are regulated to pass a political competency test before running for office, and that is election, in society that elects its office holders, it is an opportunity to research those running for office. And in this day and age, unlike in the past, where we have a variety of media available, where we could see, hear, read candidates that are electing for political views. But we should also take note that not every piece of media is truthful to the core. Some are edited, misinformed, and also biased. Before I begin my speech, I would like to define today's motions. There are two keywords in this motion. First is political candidates. Political candidates is a person who is trying to be elected, and in this context for political views such as presidential. Second is political competency test. Political competency test is an assessment to grade a candidate, and for the candidates is an actions to support their elections, such as campaigning, promoting, and also elections. Competency tests for politicians before elections shows that democracy has been damaged because it shows that it is not democratic because only a certain people can. In the competency test, it is definitely determined by a team, and it is not democratic because the standards have been determined. The Prime Minister said the word pig. It could means that predetermined, that is very detrimental to democracy. Many influential leaders in history didn't come from a political or academic elite, such as Abraham Lincoln or Nelson Mandela. They were not the products of an exam system, but of public trust, visions, and lived experience. A test would have likely disqualified them. The government team said that by requiring political candidates to pass a political competency test, government can actually its obligations towards people. But how will government maintain its capacity limitless? Government cannot always have the capacity or resources to effectively regulate societal needs or enforce law. And by mentioning that the government could actually exercise its obligation towards people could also mean the abuse of power the government have. The concentrations of power in the government's hand can lead to abuse of authority, undermining individual freedoms and rights. The limited consent and participation could also mean that individuals may not have consent to government's authority, and social contract principles assumes level of equality between citizens and government, undermining the legitimacy of government authority and create an unequal relationships between the citizens and the government. Second, the government team said that while political competency tests create a better political participation, they mentioned that it is not because of political nihilism, but what if it is because of political nihilism? The quality of political leadership, such as charisma, fame, and party loyalty, are being overthrown by merit and competence. The politicians who are more focused on garnering attentions and votes before public interest, citizens become more disillusioned with parties, with political protests, meaning the political nihilism can decrease of participations. The competency test may only assess a limited range of skills and knowledge. It also means that it are overthrowing empathy, creativity, and also leadership abilities. The abilities to perform well on a test they may not necessarily translate to effective governance or leadership. It could also means that they cannot predict a politician's future performance or ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Therefore, requiring political candidates to pass a competency test is a dangerous precedent. It repels the will of the people with the judgment of an unelected body and determines the very foundations of representative democracy. It entrusts an unelected body with the power to determine who is qualified to hold public office, potentially marginalizing certain groups and limiting citizens' choice. This approach in democracy, which relies on citizens' ability to choose their leader freely, by allowing the people to decide who should represent them, with preserve the integrity of democracy and ensure power remaining in the hand of citizens. Let the people decide who are artificial barriers and restrictions. Rather than competency tests, we could suggest that promoting civic education and engagement, as well as strengthening the democratic process, and also further education programs, candidate forums, transparency measures, and also access of informations. This is an essence of democracy. We should let the people decide, and also the people decisions can also be overthrown by the government. The government may choose the team that are already determined by not because of their skill or maybe because of their competence, but because of a relations that they have in the past. That's why we should let the people decide who should be voted for the candidate instead of the government. That is all. Thank you.